Hi guys, Jane here, and today I want to tell you about ways you can get free books that do not involve your library. Um, Everybody who's followed my channel knows that I love libraries. I'm totally pro-library, but I also recognize that some of you may be in situations where a library is just not accessible. You might live too far from a library, you might not have a library in your area, you may have mental or physical health issues that make it difficult for you to travel, or you might even be the caretaker of little children or family members who you can't take to the library. There's a ton of reasons why visiting a library may just not be possible for you. On the other hand, not everybody can spend a ton of money ordering books online. So I have 5 free ways to get books. Now, there's a caveat. Of these, 4 are technically free, but usually you need to leave a review afterwards of the book. The first one, though, is absolutely free with no obligation. So, my number 1 is sign up for newsletters that promote free books. My personal favorites are Robin Reads and BookBub. Every day or every so many days, I get an email saying, hey, here's the books that are free on Kindle this week. The Kindle app is free. I also own an actual Kindle. And these newsletters come, they tell me what books are free. I look through them, and if I see 1 or 2 that I like, I buy. Now, these books in there tend to, be from indie authors, not exclusively, but a lot are. So if you don't want to read indie, this may not be a good option for you. 2, a lot of them are first in series, or they're part of a series. Writers put their books free to get you into the series because they want to sell you books down the line. While there's nothing wrong with that, if you absolutely cannot afford any books in the future, this can be frustrating, so make sure that the books you're picking up are not ones in a series. Because a lot of times they'll give you the first book, maybe it's a little bit cliffhangery, and if you honestly can't afford more books, that could be pretty frustrating. Also, a lot of times, some of the books listed are not free, they're just really inexpensive. So when I get my BookBub or my Robin Reads newsletter, usually about half of the books are free and half of them are paid. I just buy the free ones for the most part, and if I love the author or know the author, then I might go ahead and buy one of the paid ones that's on sale. There's no obligation to these other than you have to give your email address to BookBub or Robin Reads or whatever. There's like 20 or 30 of these newsletters, and they are awesome. There was a time I was subscribed to a ton of them, and I have over 1,000 books on my Kindle now, over 5 years, that have been downloaded for free. So if you like ebooks, if you read genre fiction, if you don't mind reading indie stuff, this is a great way to get free books. Okay, so that's ebooks, and that is no obligation from you, nothing that you have to give in return. Number 2, this is ebooks and paperbacks. And this is where I tend to get a lot of my free paperbacks, and that is Goodreads Giveaways. So if you are on Goodreads, you will notice that there's a section at the top, I think it says community or something like that, and you scroll down to a section that says giveaways. You can go into that section, and there are tons and tons of books that are free. Now, depending on where you live will depend on what books you can get. Most of them are, if you live in the US, it's really easy, and I think quite a bit in the UK. If you are in another country, it might be a little more difficult. I don't know how many giveaways are available in, for instance, Africa or Asia or Australia. But take a look, you never know. So Goodreads giveaways, the idea is writers and publishers are putting their books out to get reviews, often early reviews, and sometimes just more reviews on the books that they're writing. Goodreads giveaways cost money for writers and publishers to enter now. So one thing I will say is these books are maybe a little higher quality than the books you're going to get free on a newsletter. You're also going to a lot of times get paperbacks, which is amazing because I'll read ebooks and I like ebooks, but I love my paperbacks. Now, if you get a book, are you obligated to review it? No. However, I believe, though I don't work for Goodreads, so I don't know, that if you don't review them, you're less likely to win. I'm not really sure how that works. I just know that at one point I was getting a lot of Goodreads giveaway books and I got behind and I stopped reviewing them and then I stopped winning and I haven't won since. I'm hoping that since I'm more actively reviewing books again on Goodreads that the algorithm will kick me back in and let me get some more free books and, I'll be apologetic and actually keep on top of them this time. There are lots of books, and one thing that's really nice about the Goodreads giveaway books is there are books that are popular and ones that you've seen on BookTube, for instance. So you have a lot more variety, and it's not all just genre fiction, which with the newsletter stuff, I feel like is more genre fiction, indie stuff. A lot of this is more traditional published stuff that you would see, see people reviewing. There's a lot more competition for it though. So it is harder to get a Goodreads book. You might enter 100 giveaways and get one book. So it's pretty time consuming, but if you love paperback and you want to try to get some of the more up-to-date new releases, future releases, traditionally published books, this is a good way to do it. Number 3, and this is very similar, is Library Things early reviewers. If you're not familiar with Library Things is very similar to Goodreads, although I think the site is a lot harder to read. I'm also a member of Library Things, but I don't use it very often because it's not as user-friendly. However, they also have something very similar to the Goodreads giveaways, both for ebooks and paperbacks. Kind of the same thing. You're expected to review them on the site if you get a book, and I believe reviewing or not reviewing affects the algorithm that changes how likely you are to win. So the only thing I would say that's different with Goodreads is Library Things, I believe, is still free to post. So more writers are putting their books free on there. So there's a wider variety of books because it doesn't cost anything. So you got more indies in there. And number 2, I think since it's not as commonly used a site, your chances of winning are maybe a little better than a Goodreads giveaway. All right, number 4. And this is how to get free audiobooks. There is a site called Audiobook Boom. And basically, they are looking for early reviewers of people for audiobooks. So if you love audiobooks, you go and you apply basically for each audiobook, and then the producer or whoever is providing it will give you a copy, or like if it's Audible, a code to download the book. But you are expected to review it. And if you don't, sometimes you lose your ability. I'm sorry, my nose is crazy today. Sometimes you lose your ability to get more books. I have not used them as a reviewer, but I've used them as an author. And I love them. It's a great site. And I know for sure they are available in the US and the UK. I don't believe they are available in other countries though. However, if you are US or UK and you want free audiobooks, they're a good way to do it. Again, you've got a lot of indie books, and you're going to have a lot of more genre fiction, I would say, type things. But if you love audiobooks, it's a great way to get them as long as you're willing to review. All right, and the 5th way to get free books, this takes a little bit more work. So there are forums on Goodreads and forums on Facebook and all kinds of places on the internet, basically for writers and readers to meet up. And if you are interested in reviewing books, generally all you have to do is just get on there and say, hey, I'm looking to review some books. I'm looking to review whatever it is that you're looking for, paperback, ebook, audiobook, in this genre. Anybody have anything they want to send me or gift me? And usually you'll get some responses. That response, especially if you're doing ebooks, that usually is a very good response. Paperbacks, it's a little harder. I've asked for those before because sending them costs money. And, to send an ebook in most cases doesn't cost anything. I can make a coupon on Smashwords and give you a Smashwords book for free. I can tell you when my free day is for my Kindle Unlimited. I have a lot more ability to give you a free ebook than I do to print a book and send it to you. However, if you have a blog or a booktube channel and you say, hey, I'd like a copy of your book, a paperback, I'll probably make an effort to do that because especially in the US, media mail is not expensive. And copies of my book on Kindle or on the Kindle print is not terribly expensive. An author copy is about $5, let's say, and then to mail it is another $3. So about $8 to send you a review copy. And if you actually review it, that's great for my business. And if you have a blog and if you have a booktube channel, that's even better. So I would go on forums if you, again, have the time and are willing to review and say, hey, I'm looking to review. And maybe you're starting out. Maybe you have a newer blog. People are willing to help you. You just have to ask. And I can almost guarantee you that if you go on a forum and say, this is what I'm looking for, you will have people sending books your way, especially if it's ebooks. Maybe a little harder for the paperbacks. Audiobooks, I would imagine if people have ACX codes left, you should get them. Giving away audiobooks as a writer is a little trickier because basically when you produce through ACX, which goes to Audible and is like an Amazon company, they give you a certain amount of free codes if you meet certain criteria. So if they have free codes, they'll give you that and you can go and get their audiobook. But again, writers give away tons of free books for review, but the review is expected. So I would say if you are in a situation where you cannot get to a library and you'd like some free books, these are a great way to do it. And with little or no effort. And here's the thing, most of the time, the writers don't need a huge in-depth review, and it has to be an honest review. So don't feel bad about that. You are expected to write an honest review, whatever that review is. Even if you're like, this book wasn't for me. You're still helping the writer by helping them draw in the right kind of readers for their book. Because every book isn't for everybody. I mean, anybody who's watched BookTube for very long knows that so many books have a mixed response. Like one person, that's their favorite book, and another person thinks it was the dumbest book ever. So finding your readership, that's part of the reason writers need reviews. And you are helping with that process by reviewing, and a lot of times you can get free books as well. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you get your free books and have an amazing time with it. If you know other sites or can recommend any newsletters besides the ones that I mentioned, which is BookBub and Robin Reads, please leave the links in the comments below. If you know anywhere else that gives away paperbacks, or you know any forums specifically that writers tend to give away books, whatever it is that might help people find some free books, down below please. And I'm doing a giveaway for some of my books. I will put my coupon codes down beneath. They are good until January 30th of 2019. However, if you really want to read my books that are on Smashwords, and there's not my full library, there's a few, let me know. Send me an email. If you email me and say, hey, can I get a coupon code for Smashwords for any of my backlists on Smashwords, I will send it to you. So if it's on Smashwords and it's one of my books, I'll send you a coupon code for it. So that's another thing you can ask authors. Again, you got to do it the right way, and more so like when they put themselves out there, because if you were to just email me and be like, hey, can you send me a paperback of your new book? I might not respond because people get asked that a lot. However, since I'm saying, hey, my Smashwords stuff is old backlist stuff, feel free. I'm putting out coupons now. If you missed this, send me an email and say, hey, can I get some coupons? I'll do that for you. So another way to get free books, ask authors, ask nicely, and offer a review in return, preferably. You don't have to offer me a review in return, although if you give me one, I would love that. All right, guys, social media links are below. The coupon codes are going to be below, and the like and subscribe and everything else all below. See you guys later. Bye.